Hello everyone, today we'll be going over Chapter 7's process writing. Some of the things that I will be talking about are the 5 phases that students go through when introduced to this activity, as well as some activities that us as teachers can implement in our classroom to make this a better activity for ESL students, as well as some of the activities that have been introduced to us through our course readings throughout the semester. The 5 stages introduced in the chapter for process writing that students experience are pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing, and publishing. As you can see from the chart pulled from the P&B book, the stages are explained more in depth. Process writing allows students to concentrate on one task at a time and to experience the value of peer feedback in developing their ideas for effective written expression. For example, in our coursebook, Literacy con Cariño, the teacher Robert uses several of these strategies for students to engage in peer feedback, such as publishing their work. In my next example, the students experience process writing through an activity called I Remember, where the students are expected to write 5 things that have happened to them. This activity teaches the connection between the writing and the authors, essential for the process writing experience. This is the example pulled from the P&B book. While this is a great example as to what publishing a student's work would look like, this is also another example from the Literacy con Cariño book that Robert used to publish.
Strategies to assist beginner writers. When students start to write in their second language, they might start to invent spelling that might include elements from the spelling system of their first language. During the beginning phase, second language writers may not have a good sense of sentence boundaries or of the conventional word order required in English. Also, second language writers tend to make errors in grammar, vocabulary, and usage. For example, the puppy go to Bart, he jump on Bart, he looked at Bart, he see, he go. This is an example of Kim, a first grader. She uses one type of sentence only. She is able to use the present tense, but has not developed the ability to use the past tense. However, with additional effort in the pre-writing phase of process writing, she will improve her writing skills. This is when the teacher should start to use literacy scaffolds, which is a way to assist beginning and intermediate writers and provide them with temporary frameworks that allow them to concentrate on one aspect of the writing process at a time. It helps students construct and comprehend a written message. Literacy scaffolding includes predictable elements as a result of repetition of language patterns or routines. However, scaffolds are temporary. There are different types of literacy scaffolding for beginner writers. One activity is oral discussion. This is when students share their ideas orally with teacher or with their peers. They are facilitated in choosing and focusing their topic. Another activity is partner stories using pictures and wordless books. This activity promotes second language development with the use of wordless books, which is a way to tell stories by looking at the pictures and offers limited English-speaking students the opportunity to interact with the book. A third activity is concept books, creating a teaching library. This activity focuses on and illustrates one concept or idea. A fourth activity is peekaboo books for younger students and riddle books for older students. This activity is excellent for beginning level writers because these stories allow young children to become actively involved in non-threatening writing activity. Riddle books are an extension of the peekaboo books but are adapted for older learners. Using the same format with riddle books, students create a word riddle beneath the cutout opening on the page and ask others to guess what is partially hidden. A fifth activity is pattern poems. Pattern poems are sentence-level scaffolds that make use of repeated phrases, refrains, and sometimes rhymes. It helps students learn different types of patterns. What comes to mind when a student is described as an intermediate writer? Here are some of the characteristics that we should keep in mind. Perhaps you may think that intermediate writers have less errors in their writing than beginning writers, but that is not the case. Intermediate writers make more errors because of the fact that they are producing more writing. However, that doesn't mean that something is wrong with your student. You can create and complete mini lessons to address some particular error patterns in which can help the students. There are certain strategies that can help students in developing their ideas and can help them in their writing. Certain strategies, as we shall recall from our chapter, are show and not tell, sentence combining, sentence model, etc. It is important to assess our English learners' writing process. In these assessments, it is important to focus on the writing that our students produce and not focus too much on the spelling or punctuation, but if the student is able to develop their own ideas. A few assessments that we can use are portfolio assessment, holistic scoring, and our textbook provides further instructions on these assessments. Also, to conclude, there are certain goals that we need to know that play a role in writing development, which are fluency, form, and correctness.